You're listening to the UKC Hunting Ops Podcast, celebrating hunting dog heritage, competition, and community. United Kennel Club has been the hunting dog sports home for coonhounds, beagles, retrievers, pointers, cur, feist, and more for over 125 years.
All right, now we're going to take a look at our top reproducing Treeing Walker Coonhounds. And we're going to start out by looking at some of our top males ever. We'll eventually look at our top females ever. And when I'm saying that, I'm talking about a list of dogs with no parameters whatsoever. Percentages doesn't matter. The date they're born doesn't matter. Number of pups doesn't matter. It all depends on the number of hunt champions that they produced in their lifetime. So that's true for the top males and top females. In a little bit also, we're going to take a look at what's going on now. Let's take a look at the numbers the past year. So we're going to get a pretty good look here and see what the Treeing Walker reproduction records look like. And we're going to start it off with our top males ever. And our number one hound should come as no surprise. It's dual grand Rat Attack. Rat Attack was born in September of 1994, bred by Butch Lanterman and Don Heaven, out of Grand Night champion Rock River Sackett Jr. and Grand Night champion Night Heat Dixie. Rat Attack was last owned by Buzz Lynch of College Station, Tennessee, right there around Central Tennessee. And man, 2,485 pups. That is quite a few pups, but the 569 hunt champs really stand out to me. That makes for a really good percentage with that many pups on the ground. His last litter, actually December of 2021, which isn't very long ago. You know, you're talking about 3-4 years ago. Actually saw a dog out of Rat Attack in the final cast of our World Championship back in 2023 when it was in West Tennessee. So still has some staying power, and Rat Attack, he's going to be hard for anybody to catch.
Yeah, and you're looking at the sire there, Rock River Sackett Jr. and Night Heat Dixie. Those are probably names we're going to see even more as we talk about
for sure.
Going down through these lists here. They have their own their own place in history for sure. Both of them, sire and dam there. Number two, probably no surprise here, All Grand Trackman. He's a dual grand champion, born in November of 2002, bred by Brad Richter out of Grand Night champion Nocturnal Style, and his mother was Grand Night grand champion Rock River Lady. Was last owned again by Kurt Ehring and Buzz Lynch of Monroe City, Missouri. That's probably Kurt's address, I guess. 3,042 pups for Trackman. 521 of them are titled. Last litter was just registered here just not very long ago in October of 2024 for All Grand Trackman. He had 2 dogs to title this last year. I'm surprised there weren't more of those, but hey, these are some numbers we're talking about. We're looking at the most hunt title dogs, 521 here for him, and Rat Attack, the number one, we were compared to 569. That's still a little bit of a climb there, but there's a lot of semen off some of these dogs here that's out there. But if there is, why, it's there's still climbing to be done, I guess.
Yeah, actually going to be pretty pleasantly surprised by how many of these dogs are having pups on the ground in the past 3, 4, 5 years.
Yeah,
even ones that are born back in the 80s, 90s.
Yeah, you compare the number of Rat Attack. You know, he sired a total of 2,480, almost 2,500 pups, and Trackman had just over 3,000.
And he's adding to it. He's having a couple litters a year, so we'll see where his final number ends up. It may take another 10, 12, 15 years to see where that final number ends up. Who knows? But third place here, another name, and there's going to be a lot of really familiar name for you guys. Third place, Grand Night champion Nocturnal Nailer. Nailer was born in October of 1990 and bred by Jess Dickerson. He was out of Grand Night champion Yadkin Tar Rattler and Grand Night champion Lockdown Lassie, and he's also owned by Jess Dickerson over there in Garden City, Missouri. Nailer, 3,844 pups on the ground. The Nailer craze was real. He had 485 hunt champions. His last litter, surprisingly, November of 2021.
Yeah, I remember back in the day, my early days, I guess, of competing or whatever, and you'd see all the ads of Nocturnal Nailer, just a good looking. He looked like a hound should look in the ads. You know, you see that the Siren Dam, Yatkin Tar Rattler, and Lockdown Lassie. You know, and but yeah, in those days it seemed like it was knocked for walkers. It was either Nailer or it was Sackett Jr., which would have been Rat Attack and Trackman and all those, but it seemed like those were kind of the two strains that were very, very popular at that time during that era for sure. Yep. And hunted with a lot of dogs off a nailer. One of the loudest dogs I ever heard was a dog named Train was off a nailer. I mean, waking up neighbors, places that I guided that I've never.
He earned that name, huh?
Yeah, that kind of loud. I actually talked to Jess Dickerson at the World Hunt this last year, and I mentioned that a little bit. We talked about that. Number 4, another big name, another huge name, Gray Knight champion, Bald Stylish Hickory Nut Harry. He was born in March of 1993, bred by David Fletcher. He's off Gray Knight champion Hard Knockin' Stylish Hayes, and the mother was Gray Knight champion Schmershel Stylish Anna, both of which I say we'll probably hear more about here. Last owned by the late Reverend Timothy Ball of Duncan, Oklahoma. 3,235 puppies. 478 of them are titled. Last litter was registered just in 2023, actually. I'm talking about Ball's Stylish Hickory Nut Harry.
Moving on to 5th, and you can't have any kind of compilation list without seeing this name on there. This is Grand Champion House's Lipper. Lipper was born in June of 1981, so a little bit before a lot of these 90s dogs we're seeing. There's a big push in the early to mid 90s and also the early to mid 2000s. That is a trend in this top 10. But Lipper, born in 1981, bred by Mr. Joe House when he crossed his House's Queen Lou female on his Grand Night champion House's Clint. I know there's a lot of owners that you think of when you think about Lipper. He changed hands just a couple times, but the last owner on our record is Wilbert McAllister over in Osceola, Missouri. Lipper, the one distinction he has the most sired pups that I've ever seen, probably the most in the registry's history. I can't think of any other breed that would even come close to it. I know he's the biggest coonhound. 5,145 pups that he sired, 416 of which became hunt champions. His last litter, again, not that long ago, November of 2020.
Yeah, and that's a number to remember, 5,000 basically, 5,145, but... Here again, it's kind of cool to see some of how these other dogs all, what this list looks like, and you're right, Lipper should be on this. Next one is, Lipper's huge, and all these dogs have huge names, but the next one is just same thing. Gray Knight champion Rock River Sackett Jr., born in 1990, bred by Ernest Skeens out of Grand Night champion Rock River Sackett, and Gray Knight champion PR Skeens Dolly. It was last owned by the legend Frank Giddings of up north of here in Michigan, Twin Lake, Michigan. I don't know how old Frank is now, but he's got to be in his 80s now, and he probably hunts harder than any other 80-year-old, but he's still out there. He just hunts every day. Every night he hunts, and pretty much still does, I think. 2,072 pups for Sackett Jr., 410 of them were titled. Last litter was registered in 2006. Now, I know Rock River Sackett Jr. got run over south of here in Indiana, got run over on the road out hunting with Tell Sackett one night. And so he actually was killed early on in his life, and it's hard telling what he might have done.
Wow.
Had that not happened. But hey, that was Frank Giddings. He was hunting his dogs, and he hunted he hunted Sackett. I will say I hunted with old Rock River Sackett, his daddy, one time over in Dromesville, Ohio, at a qualifier. And, Rock River Sackett Jr. was kind of known to put a lot of tree into his puppies and everything. But he must have got it off for his mother's side, because his sire wasn't really like that. His sire was a little more, just not as, not a hard tree dog like that from what I remember. But I always remembered that he must have really carried that from his mama's side or something. Yeah. But, yeah, big name in the Walker breed, Rock River Sackett Jr.
If he had had 300-400 more pups, who knows what would have happened with what he did.
6th place overall on the list.
Yeah, kind of fun here looking at we've kind of gone through your heyday there in the mid-'90s. I'm looking at 3 of the next 4 dogs kind of take me back to when I first got into it, in the late 2000s, early 2010s, and you couldn't go to a hunt you couldn't throw a rock at a hunt that I went to without hitting a dog out of one of these next dogs that we're going to talk about here. The first one is a 7th place dog, Grand Night champion Backwater Bone Collector. Bone Collector was born in May of 2007 and actually bred by Duke Prue. I didn't realize that, I guess. And out of Night Champion Hubs Homer and Grand Night Champion Looking Up Stylish Nowheres, who has a big reputation as a top female. Last owned by Doug Compton over in Greenbrier, Arkansas. Bone Collector, 2,310 pups, with 376 of them being hunt champions. His last litter just this past year in July of 2024, and he actually had 2 titled pups this year, so he's kind of got a ways to go to catch that number 6 place there, but he's got a good number, and he's actually the step between 7th and 8th place here is actually pretty substantial. That top 7 is some crazy numbers.
It is, and it brings me back to this number 2,310 for Bone Collector, and you think we know that he has bred a lot of females over the years, and like you said, in the modern area, he's not alive anymore, but he bred a lot of puppies. But when you compare this to Lipper, we're talking 5,000. It's not even half.
Yeah.
How do they do that?
I don't know how it was possible. Poor Lipper probably wore out.
Yeah. All right, next on our list, 8th place, Grand Night Champion PR Turpin's Insane Cane. He was born in March of 2006, bred by Jess Dickerson and Russ Meyer. He was off of the world champion X Junior, who goes back to Naylor, and the mother was Bolden and Turpin's Insane Jane. So that was a world champion cross that produced Turpin's Insane Cane, and he obviously went to, it just shows, family of coonhounds, coon dogs, I guess, so to speak, and keeps on reproducing here, coming off of Insane Cane. He was last owned by James Turpin of Waco, Kentucky. He has a total of 2,173 pups registered. 233 are titled. Last litter was registered not that long ago in November of 2022 for Turpin's Insane Cane. 2 of them just titled this last year in 2024.
Yeah, so another one still adding to it.
8th place.
In 9th place here, I guess this one was just a little bit before my time. I caught the tail end of it, but I know he's in. Actually, my dog I have now would have been a great grandsire to him. So, still got some blood running around out there. That's Grand Night Champion Tequila Sunrise. Sunrise, born in March of 1999, out of the first place dog up there, Rat Attack, and Night Champion Farr's Stylish Silk, bred by James Farr. Last owned by Ashley and Randall Hopkins. They're over in Las Casas, Tennessee, over in West Tennessee area. At Sunrise, only 1,597 pups. So looking at this list, but 215 of them made hunt champions, and his last litter was actually almost a year ago today, January of 2024.
Yeah, that makes his percentage pretty good. Just under 1,600 pups. That's still a lot of pups.
That's a lot of pups.
It's not Lipper a lot, but all right. 10th place, last dog to make the list here for the top 10 ever. Booger Hollow Mojo, Grand Night Champion dog, born in October of 2006, bred by Elliot Schuler. He's from right around Orangeburg, South Carolina there. This dog was sired by Grand Night Champion Davis's Stylish Harry's Hammer, and the mother was Grand Night Champion Horse Range Stylish J-Lo. That's the female that Elliot had owned there. It was last owned by Scott Engel and J.C. Ellis of Hillsboro, Ohio. 1,772 pups as of the date of this, and 212 of them titled off of Booger Hollow Mojo. He's one that I've hunted with before. They used to run him in the Prina Series, and he won the Triple Crown, I think, twice in UKC. And, man, he was just a nice hound. He'd get out there and get it done, and he's certainly passed it on. He goes down, and you see dogs out of him and grandsires out of him now that are still passing it on here. Booger Hollow Mojo.
And we're going to talk about one of them here pretty quick, because now we're going to talk about some of the top males going this past year. So we got a list of numbers from the end of 2023 through the beginning of 2025 here. So over about a 12-month span to see which sires had the most dogs that finished out to at least night champion.
Yeah, and anybody that is a breeder, and as this is a very distinguished list. Obviously the Treeing Walkers have been very active and probably dominate the sport, as far as in numbers and everything else, and obviously here as well. But to get on a list like that, with those names, Wow.
Yeah.
So it'll be cool to see what might be close here, and there's some big names down the list here.
Yeah. So remember that 212 is what we're shooting for, and man, a couple years ago when we did it, I probably scoffed at thinking, man, there is nobody who can ever get close to this. And this first dog here is going to be tough to keep out. And this is our World Night Champion from 2018, Grand Night Champion 2, Gray's Rackham Willie. Willie was born in June of 2014 out of a cross between Dual Grand Thomas's Only Reason and Grand Night Champion Gray's Stylish Page, owned by J.R. Gray down in London, Kentucky. And this was incredible to me. This past year, so in 2024, 42 dogs out of Willie achieved at least a night champion title.
Just in this 1 year.
Yeah, making his total 153 total. So you got to think now he's 60 off of getting onto the top 10 there. I actually just wanted to pull it up here because I want to know how many pups he had. Does he even have a shot in the dark? As of this recording, which is January 21st is when we're recording this podcast, he has 1,773 pups on the ground. So one more than Mojo has here listed. And I'm looking at it here. He has, there's 20, 25 of them in 2024, and we're talking about dogs that are less than a year old, and none of them are titled here. 2025 is good. It's good. He's going to make a big run. It wouldn't surprise me to see him make his way into the top 10 within the next couple years. I think he's going to get there.
Yeah, I think quite easily, actually.
And actually, I said he's got that 42 pups put him 153 total. I'm looking at it here, which is maybe unfair to some of the other dogs because I don't have their statistics. Maybe 20 days older, but he's up to 155, so he's got two more since I compiled this list just a couple weeks ago. So if he keeps that up, it's gonna be hard to keep him off the list.
Yep. Number 2 is another dog here that is making waves here in the modern era and currently, and I think we're going to see a whole lot of them because most of them are still pretty young, and you're seeing a lot of them. World Night Champion Mojo's Electric Rodeo. He was born in 2016. He is off of Mojo Mason. Talked about old Mojo. Mojo Mason, his sire is off of Mojo. So Rodeo is a grand pup of old Mojo. Mother was a Zip Stylish Gabby. Owned by Scott Angle, Randy Morgan of Hillsboro, Ohio. 36 pups this last year that titled. That now gives him a total of 60. He's got a stretch to go, but we're talking about a young sire here, just kind of barely starting, but he is taking off and running.
And the next one here kind of surprised me because we're talking about a dog who's been around for a while. Grand Night Champion, Big Money. He's born back in November of 2010, so we're talking about 15 years ago, 14 years ago already, out of World Night Champion, Miami River, Big D, and Dual Grand Red Oak Diamond Ring, owned by Larry Danner and Kevin Cable Jr. over in Connorsville, Indiana is where Kevin lives. But he added 29 dogs to his overall total just this past year, which shocked me to give him 126 total. That's a big-time jump for a hound that's been around for a while.
Yep, and he's done very well in the reproducer in the pen for sure, breeder's pen. Miami River, Big D, his sire. Yeah, big old dog there that could get out there and tree some coons. 4th overall, Grand Night Champion Davis's Rosedale Frogger, another name that we're seeing a lot in here and a lot of right now. One of the hottest sires out there currently. And here again, talked about watching a video of Clayton Starks. You can see Frogger out there and looks good on the video as well. Born in 2018, Night Champion Reynolds Wipeout Spinal Tap is his sire. The dam is Night Champion Davis's Rosedale Flare. Burchell Davis Jr. is the owner. He lives over in Mark Center, Ohio. 21 pups this year off of Frogger. That moves his total up to 33 now.
A lot of them are young.
Yep, and that's going to, remember, he's just a 2018 model, and his pups are still fairly young. They're going to keep coming for a while if nothing happens here to him.
Yeah, and you'll notice in this series, most of them for the current males and females, I did a top 5. For the Walkers, I did do a top 10 just because that 4th and 5th place for a lot of the breeds was 1 or 2 dogs. Mm-hmm. In the Walkers, we're talking about 13, 14, 15 pups. So we're going to keep going here a little bit. I got a couple actually.
Just gives you a little more better perspective of a bigger picture of it.
Yeah, for sure. And we got 4 or 5 here tied for 5th. And the first one is Grand Night Champion Stylish Bushwhacker. It's another name that's been around for a bit. He's a 2012 model out of Grand Night champion Colson's Master It and Grand Night champion Stylish Abigail, owned by Justin Davenport, Tyler Story, and Shane Groves, Angola, Indiana. Have 15 pups this year that made at least got a hunt title, bumping his total up to 97. So he is knocking on the door of that 100 there mark. That 100 mark is a pretty cool thing to shoot for, and I think he'll hit it this year.
Yeah, and Bushwhackers won here in the last several Tournament of Champions we've mentioned. He was, and the World Hunt had some of the was at the top of the list as far as having the most offspring at the World Hunt and the TOC. What was it, the World Hunt? What did he have here last or 2 years ago?
Yeah,
it's crazy.
5 or 6 in the top 100.
Yeah. Also tied for 5th, the Mountaintop Slow Talking Bow. He's a Grand Night champion, born in 2016, off of a night champion dog named Slow Talking Blaze, and Neosho River Wild Roxy is the mother. Randy Lester out of Grundy, Virginia, is the owner here. 15 pups here again this last year, tied with Bushwhacker. Brings his total up to 71 now. So yeah, a Mountaintop Slow Talking Bow. He's over there in the hills of Virginia. He's not a dog I know a whole lot about, but he's seen a bunch of his offspring doing well in the hunts.
Yeah, I know he was in the top TOC one time, made to the finals.
Yeah.
Another one tied for 5th here, which I was kind of tickled to see because I know they haven't bred this dog a ton. They just hunted the far out of him for the past little bit, and that's Grand Night champion Wipeout Hunter. Hunter here was born in June of 2015 and is out of Grand Night champion Zeb 3 and Grand Night champion Big Hollow Patches, owned by Zach McBee and Doug Douglas over in Downing, Missouri, northern Missouri. Like I said, 15 this year added to his tally to make it 27 total. And I know he's got some young ones on the ground because they haven't been breeding him that awful long.
This next dog is also tied here for 5th, and it's one I hear a bunch about, but I just really don't know anything about him at all, really. And I wish I did. Grand Night champion Dorch's Driveline. He's obviously making an impression, based on everything you're hearing. He's born in June of 2015. He's off of a dog named Mr. Overdrive. And the mother is Ramlin Ruby. It's owned by Kyle Dorch in Galatia, Illinois. Same thing, 15 dogs titled off of him this last year, bringing his total up now to 22. So he is just a young sire, but 15 in 1 year, that's a big jump right here for this young sire right here.
This next dog here in 9th place is going to take me back to when I was here for my first Autumn Oaks ever, and I got to watch this hound bring home the overall title and become a national Grand Night champion. And this is Grand Night champion Hall of Fame, Redneck Backwoods Shack. Shack was born back in February of 2013 out of Grand Night champion Redneck Mafia and Dual Grand Rats High Country Ann. Owned by Cheyenne Cummings over in Seneca, Missouri. Shack added 14 to his tally this year to give him 60 overall. And as you see here, there's actually 10th and 11th. I actually did every dog that had double digits for the sires here.
There you go. Hey, Shack's another one. Everybody knows Shack. Anybody hunts a Walker dog or whatever. He's had a lot of good pups up there in big stages and everything else, and comes from a family of coonhounds and passing it on, and had a lot of success with them. Come really close in the World Hunt as well. 10th place, Grand Night champion Money Max Out. This is the one they call Little Money. There's Big Money, and this one's the one they call Little Money, who is off of Big Money. He was born in 2013 off of Big Money. Big Money was a dual grand. Mother is a night champion Wipeout Page, owned by Ammon Leon Marner in Lagudi, Indiana. He had 13 pups to title out this last year. Brings his total up now to 42.
And rounding it out here, we got, like I said, 11th place here, the last Treeing Walker sire to have double digits dogs that titled out this past year. And this is a name that we've seen a lot, especially at our major events. Seem to do very well there. Grand Night champion R&R's Neosho Cuz. A dog that's born back in 2009 already, out of Dual Grand, Neosho River Rudy, and night champion Little Bit of Duchess. Dale Girdley, the owner on record from New Haven, Kentucky. And Cuz, he added 11 this year to make his total 75. And if I was a bet, some of them 75 will be in contention here in a couple months for the TOC. It wouldn't surprise me to have a couple in the finals.
Yeah, so there again, hey, that's a pretty impressive list too, just from this last year, or just this last year.
Yeah, There for a second, I got a little confused, and I was thinking I skipped a part because I saw females come up and said, was that the top ever list? But no, that was this year.
No, that was just this year.
It got me a little dizzy there.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, speaking of females, you ready to hit that list?
Yeah, man, we got a really, really impressive list of female walkers here who, again, no parameters except for the most number of titled hunt dogs here. And leading the way in first place is night champion Hardwood. She's Not Easy. Easy was born in November of 2008, bred by Farron and Chris Borden, out of dual grand, all grand trackman, who we talked about up there, and grand night champion Habit Stylish Josie. Probably most known for the crosses on Power Pack. I can't remember exactly how many times they crossed on each other, but man, they left a mark on the Treeing Walker breed. Easy's owned by Dennis Griffin and Jerry Frazier of Sumner, Georgia, and of the 69 pups that she put on the ground, 37 of them made hunt champions, which is the most for a female of any breed ever. And the last litter for Easy was back at the end of 2018. So heck, who knows? She could add another one or two. Who knows?
Yeah, for sure. Second is the same thing. Grand Night Champion, Dual Grand, Insane Wenty, born in September 2007, bred by James Turpin out of Kentucky, off of the cane dog Turpin's Insane Cane, and the mother is Naylor's Hurricane Jane. She was a Grand Night Champion. It's last owned by Greg Haring and Brent Deniston of Syracuse, Nebraska. 37 pups total, 29 that are titled.
Jeez.
29 out of 37. Last litter was registered in May of 2015 for Insane Wenty.
Yeah, very impressive there. We'll move on to third place, and all of these are impressive. The next one here, champion, Grand Night champion, Crocker's Quick Flash. This dog was born in September of 2002 and bred by Scott Freisorger. Hopefully I said that right. Out of Grand Night champion Sons Rock River Cord and Grand Night champion Scott's Crooked Creek Threat. And owned by Ben and Jeff Crocker up here in Ashley, Michigan. Flash had 45 pups on the ground, and 27 of them achieved a hunt title. Her last litter was back in 2010.
There again, more than half of them. I know you've heard a lot of Crocker's Quick Flash, and she's okay. That's been 20 years ago, but she made her mark, that's for sure. And any of these dogs that are on this list are just, obviously outstanding. And an incredible list to be on. Here's another one, Grand Night Champion Backwater Pearl. Born in November of 1996, bred by Samuel Moore. She was off of Night Champion Kitty's Wipeout Zeb, and her mother was a dual Grand Moore's Hillbilly Bonnie. Was last owned by Doug Compton of Greenbrier, Arkansas. 37 pups for Backwater Pearl, 26 that are titled. 26 out of 37. I just look at that and just smile, I guess, Last litter registered in 2006.
And when you see what some of these dogs are out of, you can make some assumptions here that, when you see this, Sons and Juniors and Turpins, and you can assume that a lot of these sires and dams that we're talking about, there's a lot of similar lineage. And you're talking about Pearl here. She's a big driving force behind Bone Collectors.
Yep.
Pedigree, and you can say that probably about any of these dogs. We can go forward or backwards on any of them and see at least one other dog that's on these lists. It's some incredible breeding practices by people within the breed here. Got a couple here tied for fifth. First one's Grand Night Champion Abbott's Nocturnal Jody. Jody was born in October of 1995 and bred by Mr. Kenny Abbott, a guy who has had a pile of good breedings over his lifetime. He's put together quite a few good crosses. He bred his female Grand Night Champion Abbott's Bighorn Daisy to Grand Night Champion Nocturnal Naylor, and he actually owned this Jody female, and he's out of Amma, West Virginia. Jody, 37 pups on the ground, 24 of them which made hunt champions. Last litter back in 2003.
Yeah, that's a name you see a lot of as well, Nocturnal Jody and pedigrees. Next up, tied for fifth here, World Night Champion, Grand Night Champion, Bolden and Turpin's Insane Jane. Man, this is one that has always stood out to me. Only probably one of them because she won the World Hunt and is still the youngest to win the World Hunt, I think at 17 months old. And I remember seeing her hunted with her in that World Final Cast, watching her as she flipped her loose from the truck, goes down this creek bank and just pow, drives one in there and just slams to the right and trees it, just what she did that night in the hunt. And just being very impressed with much more experienced dogs in the cast that night, and just, I'm not going to say dominated that cast, but the best that night. And then just to carry it on next year, she comes back in the World Hunt and she places second, just out of it, And then to seeing what she was on the reproducers list, how she did in the reproducing pen and everything. Wow, to me, she's up there as definitely just unbelievable to me, I guess. So yeah, World Night Champion, Grand Night Champion, Bolden and Turpin's Insane Jane, born in April of 2004, bred by Howard Taylor Jr. She's off of Turpin's Stylish Rube, that he was a Grand Night, and Grand Night Champion Naylor's Hurricane Jane was her mama. Last owned by Stephen Kinney of Kenny, Illinois. 39 pups she produced and were registered out of her, and 24 of them are titled currently. Last litter out of her was registered in December of 2014 for the world champion Insane Jane.
A lot of what-ifs for a lot of these dogs. They did a lot of winning early on, probably bred them a couple times to see what they would throw, and some impressive results, and you almost don't want to chance them, but you got to think about what if she got hunted for another, if she got hunted for another 5, 6, 7 years old, like some of the females do these days, what could she have accomplished?
I'd say the puppies off of her probably brought as much as overall, probably more than about any other litters ever did.
Yeah. 7th place here, we have Grand Night Champion Schmearsel's Stylish Anna. So before you saw that one coming, born in January of 1990, dog bred by William Corte and Charles Schmearsel. This dog is out of Grand Night Champion Logan's Wild Clover and Grand Night Champion Corte's Stylish Chirpy. Last owned by David Fletcher and Fred Roke. They're down in Texas, Emory, Texas. Anna had 56 pups on the ground, 23 of which got a hunt champion title, and her last litter was back in 2002.
There's that Schmersel name. Tied for 8th, Grand Night Champion Abbott's Bighorn Daisy. I think we saw her as the mother of one of these pups that was up here a little bit higher. One of these females, born in August of 1989, was Daisy, bred by James Hively, and she was off of House's Lipper. I think we've talked about him some in this episode. Grand Night Champion Hively's Big Sandy Brandy. So, yeah, Bighorn Daisy is one of those 5,000 pups that are sired. She's just a little number, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know what number she would be, but she's somewhere in that 5,000 group. Last owned by Kenny Abbott of Amma, West Virginia there. 35 pups for Daisy, 22 of which were titled dogs. Last litter was registered 1997.
Bighorn Daisy, and we'll keep rolling right along here. Also tied for 8th place, we have Grand Night Champion Brown's Little Peg. Peg was born in June of 1998 out of a crossbred by Travis Brown when he bred his female Grand Night Champion Brown's Peggy to Dual Grand Pulpwood's Image. Travis actually owned this female. He's out of Jackson, Missouri, and Peg had 58 pups hit the ground, 22 of which made at least a night champion, and their last litter out of Peg was back in 2007.
Yeah, Pulpwood's Image was a big name stud back in the day. It was always had ads in the magazine. I remember those. 10th place, last dog rounds out our top females ever here. Last one on the list is going to have 21 hunt champions, so that's the number here. Grand Night Champion, Grand Champion Sloan's Insane Bella. She had 3 this last year. She was born in 2013, bred by Tom Sloan. She's off of Sloan's Insane Cane and a dual grand tree singing Barbie doll. Was last owned by Tom Sloan of David, Kentucky. 46 pups off of Insane Bella. 21 of those are hunt champions, almost half of them. So there you go. That kind of rounds out our list of, just an incredible list of Treeing Walker females to the ones to have produced the most titled dogs in UKC.
The compiling of the overall males is mind-blowing. The percentages for these females is almost more mind-blowing for me. I don't know which one takes the cake, but
I know.
Both so impressive in their own right. So can there be any females that catch them? Well, we'll take a look here. We'll see what's happened in the past year and see who's kind of hot on the circuit right now.
Let me add to that what you just said. It's impressive, but that's the only way you're going to get on this list.
Yeah true.
Females are only going to be able to have so many litters, and those numbers, it's not like you're going to have like the sires,
Yep.
So they have to have a good reproduction record to make this list.
You almost can't miss on a cross.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at our top females here. First one in first place this past year, Grand Night Champion Upton's Little Haley. Haley was born on Christmas in 2017 out of a cross between Dual Grand Insane Frosted Train and Grand Night champion Queen's Little Dot, and is owned by Sean Bynum and Wesley Young, Corsicana, Texas. 5 this year, 5 total, so we're just seeing the start of Haley, I think.
Yeah, that's a name to maybe kind of watch out for a little bit. 5 this year, and that's her first 5. Carolina Hardwood Charlie is up next here on our list, also born in 2017 off a Bone Collector, and her mother was a dual grand Wipeout Wild Cat owned by Chad Broad of Gramercy, Louisiana. Gramercy. 4 pups this last year titled. That puts her up to 6 now.
Yeah, kind of interesting. Texas and Louisiana there, first and second.
Carolina Hardwood Charlie.
Man, we got a bunch of them tied here for third, so we're going to do our thing here where we kind of maybe move a little quicker on them, I suppose. But we already talked about this dog here. Tied for 10th historically is Dual Grand Sloan's Insane Bella, the dog that Tom Sloan owns from Kentucky. 3 this year, 21 total. Still had a litter as early as 2023, so we may see this number climb even more for Bella.
Yep, also with 3 is going to be Grand Night champion Dunbar Zoe. She was a 2013 model. Hughes Storm and Hughes Mighty Holly are the sire and the dam, owned by Sharon Rowe of Jolo, West Virginia. Her 3 pups this last year now puts her total up to 14, Dunbar Zoe.
Then we got Grand Night champion Miss Curly, May 2012 model out of Grand Night champion Schooner River Midnight Mo, and dual champion Bound for Glory, owned by Jason Garrett and Chris Underwood of Waldron, Arkansas. 3 this year, 9 total.
Pine Bottom Punch Drunk is a Grand Night champion born in 2013 off a Bone Collector again, and Lipper's Stylish Pearl is her mother. Ty Clifton and Nathan Flanders of East Dublin, Georgia own her. Her 3 pups this year bumps it up to 9 total.
Next one here, I got Grand Night champion Dirty White Girl. It's a May 2013 model out of Night champion Dirty White Boy and Night champion Stylish Snug, owned by Jeff Dollar and Wayne Freeman Jr. of Carrollton, Georgia. 3 this year, 9 total.
What's Up Handsome Ann was a PR dog born in 2015 off of Grand Night champion What's Up Fred and Beller's Handsome Ann. Ammon Leon Marner of Lagudi, Indiana. He owns the Big Money dog. Handsome Ann had 3 pups to title this year, bumps her total up to 8.
I believe that would be the one if we looked at a cross there between Handsome Man and Little Money. Be pretty impressive of some of the crosses they've had and the results they've had. Next one here we have here, Grand Night Champion 2, Froggy Bottom Shots Fired. This is a dog that actually did quite a bit of winning. Born in February of 2018 out of Shot Through the World and Shable Roxy, owned by Cody Sheets, Kevin Martin, and Eric Sisko of Gallipolis, Ohio.
Gallipolis,
there we go. 3 pups this year, 8 total for Shots Fired.
Adams Polly is also tied with 3 here. She's off of Cold Sweat. He's a Grand Night champion. She was born in 2015, Polly was, and she's off of Latch Up Molly. Donnie Morgan of Lafayette, Tennessee owns her. Her 3 pups this last year now bumps her up to 7 total.
Also tied here, Night champion Wilson Schooner River Faith, a dog born in May of 2012 out of Grand Night champion Schooner River Bear and Night champion Crankin' Good Time, owned by Daniel Wilson of Goshen, Indiana. Man, he's young yet, but man, he's bred some nice dogs and got a nice line of dogs. 3 this year, 6 total.
Yeah, good guy, too. He's a cattle farmer over there, and, man, he's always hunted some good dogs. I remember Daniel when he come to the Wyatt Club when he was just a young kid, and he's always hunted some pretty good dogs, and Faith is one of those. I've hunted with her before. Still tied for 3rd with 3 pups this last year. Midnight Screamin' Delilah. She is a night champion. Born in 2013 off of A&J's Silver Bullet, a Grand Night champion, and her mother's also a Grand Night champion from local here, just northern Indiana, Stutzman's Midnight Star. She is owned by my neighbor in Middlebury, Indiana, Jay Miller. 3 pups this year, bumps her up to 6 total for Midnight Screamin' Delilah.
Also tied here, Grand Night champion Smith & Strang's Lone Pine Quick Shot, a dog born in December of 2014 out of Grand Night champion Full Throttle Jigs and Grand Night champion S&S Lone Pine Miss Quickie. Owned currently by Randy Smith, Tom Strang, Brad Cameron, and Rick Strausser of Kittening, Pennsylvania. 6 total, 3 this year. First time we've mentioned Lone Pine, but he's just, I think he's pretty selective in his breeding, not more about making the right cross maybe.
Yeah, no, for sure, and he's done very well with that. Also tied for 3rd, 3 pups here. Isaac's Riverbend Sweetie, KB's Lagoon Creek Storm is a night champion. And the mother is a Grandnight Isaac's River Bend Superfly. But Sweetie was born in 2017, owned by Doug Isaacs of Kanawha, Oklahoma. She now has 4 total pups, 3 titled, and that gives her 4.
We also have Davis's Power Pack Lady, a July 2018 model out of Power Pack in Emmons's Hardwood Roxy, owned by Bill Davis of Hopewood, Pennsylvania. 3 this year, 4 total.
Banks Rock Hill Molly is a Grand Night champion born in 2012 off a Nocturnal Cane, and Get Deep Daphne, owned by Eddie Banks in Newport, Tennessee. She had 3 pups to give her first 3 titled pups.
Next one we have here, Grand Night champion Keegan's Adele. That's a name I've seen a lot over the past couple of years. July 2016 model out of Champion, Grand Night champion The Whole 9 Yards, and Grand Night DeVenter's Hog Creek Harriet. Michael Harper owns the dog currently out of Grayson, Kentucky. 3 this year, 3 total.
Grand Night champion Bugman's Lights Out Lola is off a Naylor Southern Country Rock, and Trackman's Insane Mistress is the mother, both Grand Nights. Owned by Greg Gooden of Morrison, Oklahoma. Lights Out Lola was born in 2017 and had her first 3 pups to title out this last year.
Next we have Grand Night champion Crooked Hollow Aunt Edna, a May 2018 hound. Grand Night champion Crooked Hollow Max and Crooked Hollow Dixie. Travis Gold owns Edna of Hillsville, Virginia. 3 this year, 3 total.
Grand Night champion Skaggs Neosho River Willow was born in 2019 off a Neosho Cuz, and Arnold's Hardwood Lucy is the mother. TJ Skaggs of Mount Sherman, Kentucky is the owner. Put her first 3 on the board this last year.
Yeah, these last few have been pretty recent dogs, so ones that we could see climb up a little bit. This rounds out our list here of current females. Wildcat Creek's Kansas Kate. November 2020 is the birth date, out of Frozen Lightning Bolt and Mafia's Dirty Gertie, owned by Cody Jones of Miami, Oklahoma. 3 this year, 3 total. And, man, I know that's a kind of a lot of hands to listen to. May have to listen to that one a couple of times, but, man, impressive by the Treeing Walker breed and kind of fun to go through and talk about.
It sure is, man, an impressive list for sure. It's just unbelievable to look at some of those stats there and the percentages. You know, the sires, the all-time sires, with some of them with that 5,000 for Lipper, that's just unbelievable, you know, and probably never be repeated again, you know, but then the top ever females we talked about a little bit ago, to get on that list, you got to have a good percentage.
Can't make a mistake.
You can't get on that list without having outstanding percentages.
Alan, you've been feeding Eukanuba dog feed for a while now. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I have, and I've really been able to put my beagles to the test, mainly running snowshoe hare up north where they run the hardest, where I put 15, 20, 25 miles on them easily in a day. And I've found that the premium performance sport has really paid dividends. Mainly, I noticed their stamina.
Yeah, same feed that I've been feeding. I think my dog looks good on it. He's really feeling good, and less kennel cleanup for me, so I highly recommend it as well.
Eukanuba, the official performance dog nutrition partner of UKC.
Well, at this point, we've gone through all of our 7 breeds, and it's time to kind of go through our X-breds, which is kind of still a newer commodity for people out there. We're kind of just now seeing, people have been X-breeding a little bit, but now people are breeding those X-breds, and now what's going to happen now, that's kind of a little bit of an unknown in our registration systems. We've not been able to track that data. Again, here, we're going to start out by looking at our top males ever, and just a compilation. Doesn't matter how many pups they have on the ground, percentages doesn't matter. Just going to see which hounds have the most hunt title pups. And our top X-bred male currently is Grand Night champion Bad Habit Sam, and they call him Sambo down there, down in South Carolina. And Sambo was born in September of 2012, bred by Casey Hatfield out of Night champion Eubanks Bad Habit Bandit and champion Hatfield Sweet Talkin' Sally, which is a Treeing Walker male times a blue tick female cross. Caleb Wilson currently owns the dog out of Clover, South Carolina. And Sambo, 137 pups on the ground, which is actually pretty good, I think. 11 of them have attained a hunt title. And his last litter was in May of 2024, so still a couple young ones out there. He actually had 2 finish out this year. So,
yeah, we'll probably see that and keep increasing right there. Second is Grand Night champion Hall of Fame, actually. Tuck's X-bred Eugene is what he calls him. He was a blue tick and English cross here. Talking about Eugene here, born in October of 2017, bred by Rick Patton. So he is off of Grand Night champion, Grand champion Ayers Jetstream Blue Buster, and the mother is Patton's Little Blue Diamond. His last owned by Shane Compton and Tim Bolden of Pikeville, Kentucky. He was at one time owned by one of our field reps as well down there in Kentucky.
Brandon Scalf.
Brandon Scalf, yep. 71 pups off of him currently registered. 3 of them are titled. Last litter was registered in 2024. So we'll probably see a lot more off of this. You know, he hasn't been bred all that much yet, you know, so not much at all, really.
Right.
But yeah, he's obviously he's a Hall of Fame dog, so that means he's got over 50 cast wins in UKC. So, but I know Brandon always liked this dog. One I would have liked to hunt with sometime, you know. But he won a lot with him.
For sure. And
Blue Tick English Cross.
Pushing some hounds out of New Gene right now.
Yep.
And there's several more that have attained 1, but these are the only 2 males that have multiple hunt titled champions. So that's our overall list there. Let's take a look now at what's happened this past year, and maybe we'll see an increase in some of these numbers over the years as these kind of catch on, and maybe these hounds are bred multiple times. But this past year, like we talked about, Sambo is actually first place here as well with his 2 this past year, giving him his 11 total. Again, Sambo out of Bad Habit Bandit and Sweet Talkin' Sally, owned by Caleb Wilson over there in Clover, South Carolina. First this year, first overall.
Yeah, and then the rest are going to be tied for second here with 1 this year of the top males. And the first one here in second place, A&A, Performances Sounder. This dog was just a single registered dog with unknown lineage, born in June of 2011, owned by Aaron Green out of Faribault, Minnesota. Had won to title this last year. Gives him 1. Sounder 1 this year, or 1 total.
And he's tied with Night Champion Hardwood Blaze HTX, another dog with unknown lineage, just a single registered dog, which quite a few of the X-breds are. This dog was born in November of 2016, owned by Dustin Darr of Bainbridge, Ohio, with 1 this year, 1 total.
And then the next and final dog on the list, TNS Motivated Waffles, was also single registered, born in February of 2016. Came with unknown lineage. Here he comes out of Athens, Texas. Teresa Sims, who produced, had 1 offspring to title this last year. First one for Motivated Waffles.
Let's shift gears to the females a little bit. We're going to start out with our first top overall female, so the most ever for an X-bred female. It goes to Grand Night Champion Welch's Thin Lizzie. This is a Treeing Walker male by an English female cross, born in May of 2016 and bred by Daniel Hickman when he crossed his female Night Champion Paulson's Little Shooting Star on Dual Grand Big Money. Lizzie is currently owned by Savannah Brooks over there in Cascade, Wisconsin. 22 pups on the ground for Lizzie, 3 hunt champions, which all came this year. Last litter, February of 2022.
There you go. Congratulations to Santa. Makes the top of this list here. She'll be excited about that, huh?
Yeah.
Tied for second here with 2 hunt champions. Lizzie had 3 there, but the rest we're going to talk about here had 2. Starting with crossed up G.I. Jane, had 1 of those 2 this year, and she's a Blue Tick Treeing Walker cross. Born in March of 2017, bred by Ben Thomas Moss Jr., off of Grand Night Champion Heron's Lockdown Bad Ace, and the mother was Night Champion Cowie Creek Splash. Was last owned here by Austin Cox and Billy Schuler of Holdenville, Oklahoma. She's got 18 pups on her reproduction records, 2 of which are titled, as I mentioned. Last litter was registered in May of 22.
Also tied for second here, we got Night Champion Little Boot Scootin' Bonnie. Like that. A single registered hound with unknown lineage. She was born back in December of 2012. Last owned by Hannah Laudermilk of Belton, South Carolina. 9 pups on the ground. 2 of them made hunt champions, so not bad. Last litter, July of 2016.
Bad to the Bones Firefly was a Treeing Walker and Black and Tan cross. That's a little bit different. Born in November of 2011, bred by Dean Miller and Micah Ayers. Dean is out of Ohio, Micah Ayers in Kentucky. Off of Grand Night Champion Backwater Bone Collector, and the Black and Tan female was a Grand Night Bad to the Bone Superfly, and she was also last owned by Dean and Micah Ayers. 17 pups she's produced so far, 2 of which are titled. Last litter was registered in September of 2018.
And then we have 17 tied with 1, so we won't run through those, but we will probably talk about several of them here when we talk about the top females of this past year. And we're talking about females who during 2024 had the most dogs that ended up earning hunt titles in our hunts. And first place again here we have Welch's Thin Lizzie. Treeing Walker times English Cross there. Lizzie, again, owned by Savannah Brooks of Cascade, Wisconsin, out of Big Money, and Paulson's Little Shooting Star. 3 this year, 3 total.
Crossed up G.I. Jones. Jane was second on our list. Blue Tick Treeing Walker Cross, Herons, Lockdown Bad Ace, and Cowie Creek Splash. Austin Cox and Billy Schuler, Holdenville, Oklahoma, are the owners here. Had 1 pup this last year, which is what bumped her up to 2 total.
Also tied for second here, we have Midnight Majestic Abigail, just a single registered unknown lineage hound owned by Ben Roberts of Richland, Mississippi. Born back in October of 2016, 1 this year, 1 total for Abigail.
X-bred female, Grand Night Champion Hounds of Liberty's Avery. She was just single registered, born in 2009, owned by Aaron Green of Faribault, Minnesota. Had her 1 pup to title this last year.
Also tied for second here with 1 pup this year, 1 total. Grand Night Champion 2, Miss Oakley. The English male. Grand Night Champion Ramsey's Wild Time Clifford times a Treeing Walker female named Diamond Butter. Born in October of 2016, Oakley is owned by Randy Belding of Harrison, Arkansas.
The Amazing Jambo was born in 2017. She is off of the X-bred Bad Habit Sam. And the mother is a Treeing Walker Night Champion Rocky Creek Remy, owned by Eddie Huntley of Norwood, North Carolina. Had a pup to title out this last year.
And rounding out our X-breds here, also tied for second is Big Money Molly. Again, a single registered hound, unknown lineage, born in August of 2017, owned by Robert Cromer of Boaz, Alabama. 1 this year, 1 total. That kind of puts a bow on our X-breds there. Again, fairly new, just kind of now seeing these dogs, first generations being bred. So it would be interesting to see how this changes over the next couple of years, but this is the foundation of it right here. Hey, Alan, I don't know if you've been messing around with this new Houndsman Advantage app at all, but I've been playing with it some, and it has some really cool features on it. One, it has the interactive scorecard view where you can assign strike and tree points at the touch of a button, and it automatically totals your scores after each set of points are scored and valued.
Yeah, no, I like it as well. Some of the features that I like is that you can access the rules and that it comes with a search function to easily find any specific rule. Also like that there's a place for your dog's registration numbers, and you can store pictures of your easy entry cards. I like that you can track 2 dogs' performances when out pleasure hunting. You'll find some analytics on your dogs. You can record their accuracy, win percentages, and a whole lot of things like that.
No more lying here on this app. The last thing about the scorecard I'll talk about is it has the summary view as well, where you can see the total points you have and the pending points that you have, along with tree timers for each dog. So it's going to come in handy for judges as well. So check it all out on the new Houndsman Advantage app.
Thank you for listening to the UKC Hunting Ops Podcast. Be sure to give us a follow so you don't miss any of our new episodes or content.